Welcome back to BST, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another episode. Steelers Texans. It's exactly what we thought it was going to be. A defensive battle between two teams who played very similar brands of football, offensively, defensively. We got what we thought we would get. So we'll touch on that game on this episode. Kind of look at the playoff picture, what it looks like now as the divisional round has been set, and just touch on what's potentially, the end of Aaron Rodgers' career as a Packers fan, a guy that means a lot for me. So let's just hop right into this thing. Horrific day for offensive football lovers as a whole. I mean, just a god-awful performance from both offenses. In the end, Houston scores 30, but I mean, effectively for most of the game, it was 17-6, I would say, is probably more the effective score in this game. Neither offense could get much going at all, especially on Pittsburgh's side. I mean, the Houston defense is just phenomenal. I mean, they are just phenomenal. It felt like there were so many tackles for loss, so many sacks. I mean, Danielle Hunter just mowing people down. Same with Will Anderson. They had the scoop and score touchdown. They had a pick six. I mean, they really played just the same brand of football we've seen all season from the Texans defensively. It didn't change. And in this game, they were able to run the ball, something we really haven't seen a lot. And, I mean, I said coming into this, it's like some of the best defenses in this playoff, they're really not the greatest running teams. And, when you can run the ball, it's really helpful. And, I mean, Stroud was all right, but he wasn't great. I mean, he had a horrible red zone interception, missed wide open guys all night. It felt like he kept the Steelers in the game somewhat. But ultimately, when you have that defense, you can make mistakes like that. But I think as they progress in these playoffs, and this is a team that a lot of people, kind of had as a dark horse to go on a run here, he's going to have to play better than he did today. He was not good. And now Nico Collins, with the concussion, it appears, if he's out next week against New England, that's a huge loss for Houston, no doubt, obviously. But, I think you're going to need everything you can get offensively to even have a chance to kind of keep up with New England. I mean, we really haven't seen Drake May get shut down completely. I mean, last week was pretty close to that. But even still, I mean, Drake May got it done in the end. And especially with his legs, was very good. So I'm very interested to see how Houston's defense handles Drake May next week. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure Houston can keep up scoring wise without Nico Collins. And even if it ends up being like a 17-13 game, I think New England's defense is good enough to shut down Houston. And I think New England's offense is just good enough to keep ahead a little bit. But it's going to be very close. And certainly if the Texans win that game, I mean, I'm sure you would rather have Denver. But, I mean, Denver beat you in the regular season. The Bills didn't. So if you're the Texans, you're looking at this and you're like, if we can just play really good defensive football, we got a chance to go on a run here. But they're going to need better quarterback play from Stroud for sure. On the other side of the ball, I mean, there's just nothing you could do. It was what we thought was going to happen. Just glad that Rodgers didn't really get injured in this game. That's the good part. I mean, he was just pressured all night, sacked 4 times. I mean, QBR of 14, rating of 50. I mean, not good. And I think his EPA per play is like minus 60 or something. Yeah, minus 0.68. That's horrific. It's one of the worst I've ever seen. -7 completion percentage over expected. I mean, he was really bad, just really bad. There's no other way to put it. And his final pass of his career is a pick six. That's brutal. But I mean, there's two ways to look at this. It's one way you're looking at the Steelers season as a whole and yet another first round exit for Tomlin, yet another playoff appearance with no playoff win. And then the other way to look at it is, the Aaron Rodgers of it all. So let's just start with Tomlin. I mean, here's the bottom line. I really don't think these past couple of years they've had the roster to go on deep playoff runs, and I think that's something that kind of just gets overlooked. I think we are expecting, I don't know what we're expecting from Tomlin, in my opinion. I don't look at these rosters that the Steelers have assembled and think, man, these are NFC or AFC Championship rosters, and they're losing in the first round. So I'm kind of right there with Tomlin, where it's well, I feel like he's kind of getting the ceiling out of some of these teams, and since the Big Ben days and with Big Ben in his prime, I mean, they really haven't had a team that I thought could truly contend for a Super Bowl. It's been like that since probably 2016, 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. So to me, I get it if you want to fire Tomlin. I 100% understand you need a change of pace, but I mean, this year having Aaron Rodgers was the first semblance of stability and decent quarterback play, and even with that, it wasn't amazing all year. You just look up and down the roster. It's skill positions. You have Metcalf. You have a pretty good tight end group. But past that, the O-line is all right. And the running backs, you have a decent committee there, but nothing jumps off the page at you. And then defensively, you have some good players defensively, no doubt. But again, nothing jumps off the page, I would say. And even in his age, TJ Watt is not the same player that he used to be. So it's not a wonderful roster. And I'm not going to blame that on Tomlin. I think he's getting some of the best football out of a relatively average roster. And I think he should be celebrated for that. And I get it if you want to move on from him. I do. But they need to get a franchise quarterback, because, even if Rodgers somehow does come back for another year, it's not like he's solving anything for the future. At the very least, he comes back, or at the very most, he comes back for one more year. And I think he's just going to retire. So you've been shuffling through these quarterbacks since Big Ben left. It was Kenny Pickett, then it's Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, now Aaron Rodgers. You gotta find something there, and your pick isn't going to be very good. But I would definitely look at a guy like Ty Simpson, who's probably going to maybe make the first round, but drop into the second. I'd look for a guy like that, just to take a flyer on a rookie, see what happens. I wouldn't hate that, and I know they have Will Howard at backup, but who knows what he really has. Maybe you give him a shot next year, but I think there's that side of this where I just don't know what you want Tomlin to do with this roster right now. I really don't. I don't think it's good enough, and it hasn't been for a while. And it feels like there needs to be, I don't want to say a culture change, but it's almost like they're living in the past still, and they just got to get with the times. And this isn't the Steelers of the mid 2000s with a really dominant defense, and it's this is it's a new age, and I think it could benefit them just to move on from Tomlin and, find a new voice. Tomlin's still a great coach. I think he'll get hired somewhere and he'll be a good coach somewhere else, but part of me just thinks it's time. It's time to clean house, move on, find a new era, because it's been just under a decade of the same thing over and over and over and over again, losing in the first round and having mediocre offense, pretty decent defense, and never coming up big in these playoff games. So that's kind of the Tomlin and like the outlook of the Steelers side of things. Let's talk about A-Rod. My favorite player ever, the player that, made me fall in love with the game. I mean, it's sad to see him go. I teared up a little bit. I mean, this guy is someone who I consider to be a top 5 quarterback. And me personally, I think he's number 3 all time, but behind Manning and Brady, of course. I think he's the greatest thrower of a football we have ever seen and will ever see. No one spins it like Aaron at all. It's sad. Part of me wishes he just would have retired after 2021 in Green Bay. Obviously, that was a rough year. I so very wish we were able to get another Super Bowl with him. And I think he's a player that deserves it, that deserves a second Super Bowl more than a lot. And I felt like he's one of the most overhated players ever in just terms of his personal life. I mean, he seems like a great guy to his teammates. And for whatever reason, the media has always seemed to take this angle of attack against him. And I never thought it was fair. I always thought he was a pretty good guy. And that just kind of defined his career, especially in his later years. But I have never watched a more talented quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. And it's been an incredible career. I'm not sure the exact numbers of where he'll be in all-time touchdowns, yards, top 10 in both for sure. And I think he's sneaking up on number 5 or 4 in touchdown passes. Let's look at that right now. Passing touchdowns all time. I mean, he's got to be up there. Yeah, number 4. Number 4 at 527, Aaron Rodgers. Man, yeah. Part of me thinks he honestly just come back for another year, try to get to that 539 mark of Peyton Manning. But if this is it, and honestly, part of me is just like, just retire, man. It's a pretty good way to go out, all things considered. You made the playoffs. In this game, I mean, you had a chance up until the end. You're 4th in that. You're, 5th in yards. I mean, what an incredible, incredible career from Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely incredible. Will forever be my favorite player of all time. Got numerous jerseys. I mean, he's meant so much to me and my childhood growing up watching football. Just truly a special player that will surely be missed. And honestly, this is kind of the last guy kind of hanging on is Stafford, and I would not be shocked if they win a Super Bowl if Stafford calls it quits as well. And once Stafford's gone, I mean, you're talking literally no quarterbacks drafted before the 2010s. And even before, I mean, I'm trying to even think of a starter right now that was drafted before like 2014 or 2015 at this point. I'm not sure it exists. So we're about to be in uncharted territory where it's truly the end of an era. Where we don't have any legends right now. And then we get to a spot where I mean, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, those guys are going to start becoming the legends and the old guys. I mean, we're like 5 years away from Josh Allen being like 34 or whatever it is, and one of the old veteran quarterbacks. It's crazy how time flies, and it shows that you can't take the prime of these careers for granted. And I think that's especially true with Aaron Rodgers. It just felt like he was 32, and that was a decade ago. And it flies, and thankfully for Rodgers, some of the best years of his career, the back-to-back MVPs, were in the latter years of his career. And I think if Green Bay does a better job putting a competent defense and roster around him some of those years in his prime, I think we have another Super Bowl, and I think he has another Super Bowl. And I think if he had another Super Bowl, he would get a lot less hate and get a lot more credit. But I think he deserves it. And I don't know, just a special player. And he'll be missed by Packers fans, by Steelers fans, by anybody who enjoyed the game of football. If you enjoyed the game of football, you enjoyed the art that was Aaron Rodgers throwing. Truly, just one of the greatest aspects of football in general, and certainly one of the greats of the 2010s for sure. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers riding off into the sunset, even though on a little bit of a somber note. All right, let's talk about this playoff bracket here. Okay, so let's talk about the games on the 17th. My birthday, by the way. It should be a good one. All right, Broncos-Bills, the 1 versus 6. It's at 2:30. Broncos are favored by 1.5, according to ESPN. This one's going to be interesting because I think we're at a spot where I feel like the Bills have to go on a run here. There's almost no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have a team in Denver who's won a lot of close games this year. Off the bye in Mile High. If we're just looking at matchups here, last week the Jaguars shut down James Cook. It didn't really matter because Josh Allen took what the defense gave him and played some really good football. So I think the Broncos can shut down James Cook. Can they shut down Josh Allen? I think they can get pressure on him for sure. And that can slow them down because the Bills are just so good at staying ahead of the chains. So I think that could be a weakness there for the Bills. And if we're looking at the Bills on defense, their pass defense has played really well, but their run defense is getting gashed. But honestly, I'm not sure the Broncos have the backs right now in Harvey and whoever else they got back there to take advantage of it, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I'm not too worried about that aspect, and I think this is a pretty decent matchup for the Bills. I'm not sure how good Sean Payton teams are off the bye, but if they come out flat, I mean, look for the Bills to take a lead early, and with this defense playing how it is right now, I think they'll be able to take care of business and beat the Broncos and move on to the AFC Championship. And then the night game on the 17th, Seahawks-Niners, a rematch of Week 18, this time in Seattle. Seattle is favored by 7.5. Pretty lengthy line there, but can you really blame them? I mean, we saw this matchup 2 weeks ago, like I mentioned, and the Niners kind of got smoked. Seahawks didn't really score a lot, should have had more. They were down in the red zone, didn't convert on one. But ultimately, the story of that game was the Seahawks defense just being dominant. And I think we saw in Niners-Eagles, I mean, one of those touchdowns, you can't really call it again with the Juwan Jennings throw because I mean, that's just, you can't call another throw. I mean, it's going to be studied by the Seahawks. Probably won't work. So to beat the Eagles, you kind of pulled out all the stops with a trick play like that. A trick play that they saved for the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So you look at from that angle, you're sitting at 16 points instead of 23, and I just trust the Seahawks to put up more points on this Niners pretty poor defense than the Eagles were able to at the end of the day. And I think we saw a pretty similar performance to what it will be in Seattle in terms of the Niners not really being able to move the ball whatsoever. So I'm struggling to see an avenue for the 49ers to win this game, but I would have said that against the Eagles, and they found a way, and they found a way all season. Losing Kittle is absolutely horrific, not only in the passing game. I think Tunges can be good enough, but what Kittle does in the running game is so key. So that's going to be a rough one for San Francisco. But I just think Seattle's going to be able to put up too many points, and I don't think the Niners are going to be able to catch up. So I like Seattle in this one. And then we'll move to the Sunday games, the 18th. Patriots-Texans, like I was saying earlier, this is going to be an interesting game. I think it'll be very close. But ultimately, I just trust Drake May to outscore the Texans. Whether that be 17-13 or whatever it takes, like 20-17, I think it could be. I just think he's going to get more points than Stroud in the Texans offense. And I have no doubts the Texans defense will show up in this game and sack May several times. I mean, Drake May is one of the most sacked quarterbacks on the year. So I think we'll see that patented Texans brand of football. But I think the Patriots defense is also pretty underrated and will do enough to stop Stroud. So I like the Patriots to move on. And then finally, the quote-unquote night game. It's at 4:30 Mountain Time. Bears-Rams. I really need the Rams to win this one. They're favored by 3.5. I don't think I can handle a Bears NFC Championship with the Super Bowl on the line. Here's the thing for the Bears. You've been scraping by, and I really struggle to believe that if you turn over the ball twice and basically they turned over the ball like 6 times because, you went for a fourth 4 times, you failed all 4. So, listen, I'm not even trying to hate, but I trust that the Rams will be able to take advantage of that better than the Packers did. And I think the Rams will not have the protection issues the Packers did in the second half. And if I'm a Bears fan, I am deathly afraid of what Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua are going to do to the secondary. Because the Packers kind of torched them. Imagine what those two are going to do to them with Stafford, the MVP, at quarterback. I genuinely just don't see an avenue for the Bears to win this game if they keep doing this fourth quarter comeback bullshit. They need to play their most complete game of the season. They cannot have Caleb miss throws. Caleb's going to have to complete 65% of his throws in this game, not throw 2 picks. Like, he's going to have to play his best game of the season, I think. I just don't think you can give LA the chances to keep on scoring because I just think they're going to. This Bears defense is not very good. And I just think they're going to exploit it a ton. And I think LA on defense as well has the ability to stop the run, which is going to get them off balanced. But at this point, who knows? I'm going Rams, but the Bears just kind of feel like a team of destiny where things are just going their way at this point in the season. And it sucks to say as a Packers fan, but it's just the truth. And I have no doubt Caleb will make some big throws when he needs to. But if he can be consistent, I mean, if the Bears can just play a consistent game and find a way to play like they do in the fourth quarter in some of these games, I mean, they're a dangerous team. So that's what I'm looking out for. But I think I'd go Rams, and that would set us up with a Bills, Patriots, AFC Championship, and Seahawks, Rams, NFC Championship. 2 division matchups in the championship games would be pretty awesome for sure. And it should be good. Should be good to see what happens. But yeah, that's going to do it for me today. We'll be back on probably Saturday talking about these games, who's going to the AFC and NFC Championship between those 2 Saturday games. We'll be back with Jock, Jaden, and Jason probably. That should be a fun day too, because Jock and Jaden, both Seahawk fans, Jason a Broncos fan. So, they were cheering on my Packers. I'll be pulling for their teams a little bit to get the wins there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, check out TikTok, check out Instagram. It all helps out a ton. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers is probably done. So, go back, watch those highlights, enjoy what was the greatest thrower of the football of all time. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, have a good night, and we'll see ya in the next one.